Welcome everybody here in our audience and those that are watching on TV. And those watching on TV, just as a reminder, we have a water ban on, which means that no sprinkling of lawns. Hand watering only. It went into effect this weekend, and it is being policed.
And it's being rather successful.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
We're very grateful for people complying, because it's having a positive impact.
Okay. First item on our agenda is to meet with the town clerk on the open meeting law changes. Barbara, you have the podium.
Well, I'm here at your request just to go over, I guess, some of these new changes to the open meeting law. These have been forwarded to all boards and committees for a while now. I've sent out notices to apprise everybody of the coming of this change. It does repeal the current open meeting law under Chapter 39, Sections 23A through C, and it replaces that with the open meeting law under Chapter 38, Sections 18 through 25. It does cover certain some of the things are still the same, and some of the differences are that the 48-hour meeting notification now excludes Saturdays in the counting of that 48 hours. So that does impose a little bit of an extra burden on boards and committees that meet on Monday, such as the Selectmen, who must now post, a day ahead of what they're usually accustomed to at the latest. An agenda of sorts is now required to be part of the meeting notice, and that doesn't have to be an exact specific agenda, but mostly a listing of topics that the chairman of every board and committee reasonably anticipates will be discussed at a meeting. It does allow for some leeway in providing for the fact that you can still insert old or new business to take up matters which might come under the need for discussion within the 48-hour notification period, so you have some leeway to do that. However, it should not be used to circumvent the intent of this new edition of an agenda or listing of topics. So in other words, it should not be used habitually to just circumvent notifying the public about what the boards and committees are going to discuss. The whole idea of the open meeting law is to provide an openness to government, and or as they put it, transparency in government. So the notification process is part of that. The main issue that we have regarding this at this point, we have provided a revised meeting notice that allows for space on it for an agenda. It's basically the same meeting notice that we had in half, and we've left white space now, so boards and committees just can incorporate their agenda here, which allows us to keep the meeting and the agenda together for the benefit of the public, as well as for our office in posting these. It will take up more board space, so we may find ourselves expanding to one of the open boards in the foyer, and then we'll need a discussion with maybe the town maintenance on enclosing that board too, for protection from anybody just lifting these off the board. However, the biggest issue right now is the fact that meeting notices must be available 24/7 for accessibility to the public. Currently, our meetings under the old open meeting law are posted in the town hall foyer, the official bulletin board for the municipality. Now, the law requires that in addition to that posting, there needs to be one that allows for 24/7 accessibility by the public. The issues that arise with that are that the Attorney General's office does not consider a website posting or cable television to suffice in this. They are basing that conclusion on the fact that the group Common Cause has done a survey throughout the Commonwealth, and that I think somewhere in the 60th percentile of residences have internet access, which leaves the other 40% or so at a disadvantage. Likewise, cable television is not in every household, so that cannot suffice for the 24/7 posting on its own. The solutions, I handed out the rules and regulations, which were just released. We, as municipal clerks, have been waiting for these for some time, but the Attorney General's office just took over enforcement of this law on July 1, and we're holding off on releasing their regulations until that time. So kind of right now we're going to be playing catch up. On the fourth page, I'm sorry, it starts with section 2904 of the regulations regarding open meeting laws, and it gives there the alternative posting requirements. The notice can be posted on a municipal website, but then it also has to be posted in a building that has 24/7 accessibility, such as police and fire. Likewise, it can be posted on cable television, but also must be available at a building with 24/7 accessibility, such as police or fire. And of course, they can be published in a newspaper, and no offense, Bob, but that would probably be too costly.
Make me an offer.
But then again, it still would have to be also posted in a building with 24/7 accessibility, such as police or fire. The fourth alternative is to place a computer monitor or an electronic bulletin board of sorts near the entrance of the municipal building facing outward, so that people can come up to the building and view it, or an audio recording where you can call in to a telephone and listen for meeting notices to come through, you know, on a rotating basis, I'm assuming. So these are, right now, the alternative posting methods. When we were getting close to this implementation date, I thought that the sole provision to supply another binder with these duplicate meeting notices at the police station would satisfy the 24/7 accessibility issue. However, I spoke to an attorney today at the AG's office, and they said that that in and of itself also will not suffice, because the law specifically states that if there needs to be 24/7 accessibility at the municipal building where the town clerk's office is located. So, right now in place, we do have a temporary solution that does address it partially. I did put a binder at the police station, such as this, with the permission of the police chief, for meeting notices. It has in it instructions for people and index tabs just by the month. And what we're doing is filing meeting notices by the month. And persons who go to the police station can view them. They can just flip to the month and view them. We are not attempting to keep it in any order, because it really is impossible. Our bulletin board here at Town Hall is labeled, and we try to keep that in order, but this would be an excessive burden to do that. But they are located in there, so if you were to go in today and flip to the July tab, you would find all the meeting notices for boards and committees for July. Likewise, if we have any in August, they would be there. So it is set up by the month. I thought that this would suffice, but it does not.
That's not sufficient? It has to be
It is
24/7
not
access?
sufficient in and of itself. In addition to this, we still must have either one of the three options. The meeting notices on the website, the meeting notices on cable television, or the meeting notices published in the newspaper. In addition to this.
In addition to that, no.
In
It
addition-
doesn't have to be 24/7 access here in Town Hall.
No, yes.
If our town hall was open 24/7, the issue would be solved. The official bulletin
Right.
board would suffice.
Right, okay.
But our town hall is not open on weekends, and some evenings it's not open. And certainly when the last of the boards and committees leave the building, they're supposed to lock it. The official bulletin board does not suffice.
But placing that book outside in a control box doesn't work?
Yes, doing that would work, or an outdoor bulletin board here would work. So we could build an enclosure of sorts to put the binder in. The issue with that becomes one of vandalism, or, you know, persons taking the book with them. You know, it can be anchored down to a certain extent, but not really.
We went to the MMA symposium, and that's what most of the towns we heard were doing. They
Yeah.
were building a box,
Right.
accessible, you just go up and open the box, and there's the book. You can take and make the notes, and then,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, there's
they
no
chained it to
paper
the.
that I have in the binder.
Yeah.
One of the issues with it becomes one of, in the more inclement weather, when we start having snowstorms and all, the walkway would have to be cleaned
Yeah.
constantly. You wanna have the lights on under the awning for visibility and safety reasons. So those are some of the issues with
Right.
doing that
Wh-
here.
What do you think would be the easiest alternative or secondary
Well, right
source?
now, I've also been on the phone today with myself and the IT person, Jean Tworick, and Virtual Town Hall, to find out if there's some way that we can take these same meeting notices and scan them
it.
through,
Sure.
like our scanning machine, and shoot them right up to a special link on the town website. They would need to create this link where these notices can just show up. That's what my discussion was today. This is all very early stages because I just came back and this was just in my email, it just was delivered. So, you know, right now we have a partial solution. They're not going to come down on any of the municipalities at this point for not being in total compliance right now. It's a work in progress. Also, the regulations which I just handed you are preliminary regulations, and they are still looking for input on these, and they intend to finalize the final rules and regulations by October 1. So they will be sending out an email notice to all of us to give us the direction, the link to file any input on this.
And Barbara, from what I'm understanding, they're not really giving us much of a choice, but to put something outside the front door of Town Hall where your office, in essence, is located. It seems like we really don't have a choice whether there's vandalism or
No, we
there's a
don't.
storm.
The fact would be that we'd have to continue to replace a binder, you know, if we did that. And if somebody just came in and instead of using the note paper that's supplied in the book, decided to rip out the meeting notice, it's not something that we would have the time to monitor and make sure all these meeting notices are still there. You know, that you gentlemen know how many boards and committees meet in the town, and especially as we get into busy times. So it's not something that can be well monitored.
Barbara, I think I'm missing something here. You're telling me that if you post this in the police station, open 7/24, right, that's insufficient?
Yes.
That doesn't make sense. It's
I
contradictory.
had
by
that
it-
argument with the attorney.
By itself, it's not.
By, in and of
No, I
itself,
understand, but
correct.
that doesn't make sense.
I agree.
Right.
It is because the law states that the accessibility is supposed to be at the municipal building where the town clerk's office is.
I guess we're gonna have to move you over to the police station.
Plenty of room.
Just don't put me in a cell, that's all.
Wait a minute, can't get picky.
I
swear
just
to
want,
God,
sometimes I wonder who thinks
I
up
was
some of these things.
But
Well,
I did have that argument, and that would be one of the points that will be in my review of
Yeah.
this matter. That certainly, I have posted signs in the windows facing outwards of the town hall by the handicap accessible doors that state that a binder is available with all the meeting notices at the police station, giving the address for 24/7 accessibility. So right now, we've done, you know, try to approach this, you know, in the manner that we thought it was going to be implemented. Unfortunately, we have been in contact with the AG's office numerous times, the clerks in general, and as a group, also requesting, number one, a delay of this matter till we got these rules and regulations, or, and also looking into perhaps changing the law, because the legislation itself reads a certain way, so the rules and regulations can only address certain aspects of it. They can't change the actual legislation.
Well, I think we should raise the level of noise. I mean, it seems to me that, you know, if it's 24/7 and you have a book at the police station,
Should be adequate.
it should be adequate, you know,
Well,
without,
Once we get the link for input on these regulations, I'll forward it to all of you gentlemen. And
not that I don't think it's a good idea to put it on the website or anything.
Right.
But if they haven't established the rules.
Right.
You know, and they expect you to do something.
Well, it's
you know,
backwards again.
But
yeah.
again, I think short term, you could place that book outside in a, you know, some kind of a wooden box, and at least, I mean, yeah, you take, the only risk you take is that someone could rip it off its chain and remove it, but
I see more
that
problems.
suffices, at least for the short term.
Yeah, I see all sorts of problems with that. I'd say Barbara and her staff would have to go out on
Yeah.
a daily basis, multiple times, and
Yeah.
check and make sure